Welcome to part two. The man who wrote this book has done his research, and the very word research means to look again. Nothing seems to be discovered that's new. You always dig in the past, and there it is. This information is probably available all over the place, but nobody's put it together like he did. In part two. No astronomical data contradict the possibility that the solar system circles about Sirius in the course of the latter circuit of the Milky Way, as Kant believed. For such a circling would only noticeably alter the position in the heavens of Sirius itself and of two or three other near stars, and in a periodicity of some hundreds of thousands of years this could easily pass unnoticed. In fact, we have definite evidence to show that such is the case. As the ancient Egyptians observed, the apparent motion of Sirius, measured by its rising with the sun, is a little less than that of the apparent motion of all the other stars, which is recognized in the precession of the equinoxes. Whereas the general star mass rises 20 minutes later on a given day each year, Sirius rises only 11 minutes later. This corresponds to the difference in apparent motion between points outside a circle and the center of the circle itself, when observed from a moving point on its circumference. Just as in a landscape seen from a moving car, far and near objects seem to run past each other. From such an observation, we have good reason to believe that our sun does circle about Sirius. And if we suppose the generally accepted figure of 20 kilometers a second for the sun's motion through space to be correct, then this circling would require 800,000 years. In other words, our sun would make some 250 revolutions about its greater sun for every full circuit of the Milky Way. Later we shall see that this figure of 800,000 years is equivalent to about a third the lifetime of nature, or a month in the lifetime of Earth, and that it fits in very well with the general relation between cosmoses. Meanwhile, another very striking fact appears to confirm the idea of a local star system with Sirius as its center. If we take the great familiar stars within, say, 40 light years of the Sun, Sirius, Procyon, Altair, Fomalhaut, Pollux, Vega, and so on, we find that all but two lie within 15 degrees of the same plane. There is only one likely explanation of this, that all the near stars revolve about a common center, and that this section is the ecliptic upon which their orbits lie. Supposing Sirius to be the sun of these suns, then our sun, curiously enough, appears to occupy a similar place in that system to that occupied by the Earth in the solar one. And if this is so, then the Sirian system may be regarded as almost exactly 1,000,000 times greater in diameter than the solar system, as the latter is 1,000,000 times greater in diameter than the Earth, and the Earth 1,000,000 times greater in diameter than an ordinary house. What kind of influence could reach us from the Sirian sun, with its strange combination of a radiance far greater than solar radiation, and a density far more appalling than any conceivable in the darkest interior of the densest moon? We cannot know. Such super-heaven and infra-hell are unimaginable for us, nor can we know whether the cosmic rays or any other supersolar radiation is connected with it. We can only in a general way picture each of the worlds we have considered as bathed in radiations or influences from all the worlds superior to it, as our Earth is simultaneously bathed in cosmic rays and solar heat. The sum of these radiations will constitute the medium in which a world exists, and their variety will introduce the possibility of choice of response as between one influence and another. Seen from another point of view, this medium is composed of the sections of higher worlds. We have already compared our solar system within a section of the Milky Way to a cell within a section of the human body. The cell to the human section and our sun to the Milky Way are, as points are to planes. So we may say, as a law, that the medium in which any world lives and moves and has its being is to it as a plane is to a point. The cross-section of the human body is the plane in which the cell moves. The surface of the earth is the plane of nature in which man moves. The ecliptic of the solar system is the plane in which the earth moves, and the disk of the Milky Way is the plane in which the sun moves. Now the relation between a point and a line is infinity, and the relation between a line and a plane is again infinity. Thus the relation between a point and a plane is infinity squared. This means that they are doubly incommensurate. Two new dimensions have entered, and when we compare each world, not with the section of the higher world which it inhabits, but with the complete body of the higher world, the comparison is between point and solid, or infinity cubed. The squaring or cubing of infinity can best be understood by us as the introduction of plan, purpose, and possibility. An infinite number of points make meaningless extension, but a point multiplied by infinity cubed can constitute a solid block on which one may sit. An infinite number of cells form only a mass of protoplasm, but cells multiplied by infinity cubed constitute a human body. An infinite number of organic bodies mean nothing but tons of flesh and sap, but organic bodies multiplied by infinity cubed constitute the harmonious world of nature. In the same way, though we cannot understand its significance, the Milky Way must be composed not of an infinity, but an infinity cubed of suns. Yet, cell, human body, world of nature, earth, solar system, and Milky Way are at the same time complete in themselves, each containing a pattern and possibility of the whole. Such entities connected by the sliding triad of dimensions with similar entities on larger and smaller scales are rightly called cosmoses. Two questions may arise in the reader's mind at this point. First, what exactly constitutes a cosmos? And second, what grounds are there for assuming that higher and lower cosmoses than man are capable of intelligence and consciousness? The word cosmos in Greek means order, harmony, right behavior, honor, a whole, the outward fashion of a whole, and finally the harmonious order of the whole, the universe in its perfection. As used by the Pythagoreans, it also meant a self-evolving or self-transcending whole. As we shall see in detail later, the possibility of self-evolution or self-transcendence implies a very special plan and structure which some creatures have and others do not have. Thus, man, who possesses the possibility of perfecting and transcending himself, can be called a cosmos, whereas a dog, which seems to be a finished experiment with no further possibilities, cannot. By the same token, a sex cell which can transcend itself into a man is probably a complete cosmos, whereas a bone cell is not. A planet which can transcend itself into a sun is a cosmos, whereas an asteroid is not.